Hey everyone, Brody here with our new channel, Let's Table It. I have a new copy of Badland Rivals. It's an indie game by Imps and Monsters. It's a game with the art and the design done by Justin Hillgrove. So you find yourself traversing the hostile post-apocalyptic Badlands, chafing in the company of your fiercest rivals. Many adventures befall you and your reluctant companions, and with each encounter comes an opportunity to outshine them. Well, will you rise above your rivals, or will you be left choking in their radioactive dust? Well, this is a 2 to 3 player card game where you will need to push your luck and use your wits to match whatever encounter is presented in front of you. Each player starts with a character card and 3 random resource cards from the resource deck. This forms their pack. Players want to get the most cards inside of their pack to score the most points at the end of the game. The game is played in 8 or 9 rounds, with an encounter card being flipped over at the beginning of each round. The active player reads the card. Toll Bridge. A charismatic fellow steps into your path and insists on a friendly duel as payment for using the bridge that his family cares for. Do you push? A well-timed shove, and he plummets down the ravine and out of your way. Or a friendly duel. Well, why not? You nod and begin circling the smiling swordsman, and then chooses which option they want to perform for that encounter. They will take a resource card from the deck and cover the option that they did not choose, so that the one they did choose is left uncovered for everyone to see. The active player will then take their cards that make up their pack, and they will choose one of them to add face down to the current encounter. Now there are 2 face down resource cards on top of that encounter card, 3 cards in total. The active player knows 2 of the 3 cards, as they added 1 without anyone else knowing the value of it. All other players only know the encounter value shown on the top left of that card. The sum of the 3 cards are known as the encounter total, and players will be trying to get as close as possible to this number themselves. Now, starting with the active player, players will choose to either draw a card from the resource deck or to pass. Remember, the active player knows something that you might not. Players continue in a clockwise order, choosing to either add another card or passing, leaving at the value that they're at until all players have passed. Each player will have their own player value from the values of their cards. The active player will then flip over the 2 face down cards that's on the encounter card, and everyone will see what the encounter total is, the total of those 3 cards. If a player's total is higher than the encounter total, then it's a fail for them, and their cards are discarded. If a player's total is lower than the encounter total, this is a success, and they are able to add the resource cards that they drew to add to their pack. If the value is equal to the encounter total, then they are flawless, and it counts as a success, adding their cards to their pack, but also they get to add the cards from the encounter to their pack as well, if they are the only player who is flawless. Now, if 2 players are flawless, these cards are divided between those players. When adding resource cards to your pack, there are some cards with special actions listed on them. First, the stuff cards. These can be equipped to either your character, if using it for the good stuff, or another player's character if you want to use it for the bad stuff. This will let players add or subtract values when values are compared to the encounter value. If it's good, then you control it and you can flip it over whenever you want. And if it's bad, the other players control it and they can flip it over whenever they want. Waste rats and passing traders are triggered when they are added to someone's pack. All cards are added to everyone's pack, and then starting with the active player, the actions can then be performed. If the active player was successful or even flawless, then they take the success action listed on the encounter card. These are represented as a strike, where opponents will discard a random card from their pack, a gather ability, which lets the player draw a new resource card and add it to their pack, or a steal action, where the player chooses a card from their pack to discard and then chooses a random card from another player's pack. The current encounter card is discarded and the active player token is passed clockwise to the next player, and they begin a new round by drawing a new encounter card. This will then occur for 8 rounds when playing a 2-player game, or 9 rounds when playing a 3-player game. During this time, the players can use their character card ability once to flip it over to increase or decrease their value by 1. Again, a stuff card can be equipped on your character by placing it behind your character with the good stuff showing, or it can be placed as a bad thing, a bad stuff, and put it behind another player's character. Or it can be discarded to then flip your own character card back face up. Many stuff cards can be used at the same time or combine them with your character's ability as well. But when a stuff card is used, it gets discarded. After 8 or 9 rounds, players will then encounter the showdown phase, where all players place one resource card from their pack that will be combined with other players' cards to form a showdown value. If playing a 2-player game, a random resource card is placed face down to be the third card. Players will continue the normal way, but if all players fail, players will play the showdown phase again. The player who is equal to or closest to the showdown total gets the flawless status and adds their cards plus the showdown card to their pack, and the game ends. Players then count up points with each card in their pack counting as 1 point each. Each equipped good stuff is 1 point each. Each equipped bad stuff is -1 point. The player with the showdown card gains 1 more point. Points are then scored for text shown on cards, like having a pair or more of the bonus cash, old tech, or friendly locals. The player then with the most points wins the game. Now, this is a fun push your luck card game with some great art. When I first saw the game, the art is what brought me in. If you already know Justin's art, or this game has introduced you to it, then you should definitely check out his other work. But this game was great to play with my kids as well. They understood the mechanics quickly and have been pulling the game out over and over again to play it over and over again, as they did pretty well when playing it. It's a good push your luck game, so you really are trying to guess what number could possibly show up with the encounter value, and then you are trying to get as close to that as you think you can without going over. But you just don't know if the next card that you draw will be a 0, a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, so you need to kind of make sure you don't go over. Players tend to play it safe near the beginning of the game and can then equip more items and then use those modifiers to gain even more cards and to put into their pack to gain more points in the game as the game goes on. And players want to get the most cards in their pack, but also sometimes you might want specific cards to gain points for the end of game bonuses. There isn't too many extra point cards where it gets too confusing, but just enough that it adds kind of some more points that you can get extra things rather than just cards. The rounds continue until you reach the showdown, where each player knows one of the cards and players have the same information to be able to win that last round for an extra point or 2. Overall, this is a game with great art. It plays quickly and can be enjoyed by everyone, as players can get lucky or push their luck too far. Again, this is Brody with Let's Table It, where we get games to the table. Please like and subscribe to our channel. We are new and working hard to bring to you videos like this one so that you know if these games are ones that you want to get to your own table.